Yes, welcome back again, my dear friend, to our usual family talk show. We are always looking at things that are happening around and in our community and in our families, things that are real. We have been talking over the past few days issues dealing with LGBTQ. That's a long word, but those are many things that are put together, that there are people who really are not living their lives as normally as probably men or the majority of us know. And I want to admit the fact that this is a minority, LGBTQIA is a minority group among the society that we live in. What we have always perceived to be normal is the fact that a relationship happens between a man and a woman, or a woman and a man. That's what we have always known, and we have never for a long time ever come to that point where we think or imagine that there is a middle way, that when a person is attracted to the person of the same sex is a possibility. This is something that probably we have heard in whispers. And whenever it has happened, it's always shunned, as we say that, especially here in Africa, where many of us are, when you mention about something like this, many people, wonder at you. They wonder, how can that happen? Or how can that be? But we have, from our previous episodes, agreed to the fact that these things are there, and there are even people, even in our African society, from time immemorial, who used to practice in some of these things, and how the society then used to perceive it. And without fear of contradiction, I want to say here that it doesn't appear to me that in the African society, a man would come out and say that he's attracted to a fellow man, or a woman will come out and say that they are attracted to their fellow woman. That will look to be very abnormal. And therefore, we have been trying to ask then, how come? How did this thing come about? How did this thing come about? Is it because, as we have heard it said, that this could be an issue of genes or a biological issue? It's something that is inbuilt in people, in men or in human beings, that you can be born gay, or you can be born lesbian. You can be born as a person who cannot relate to people of the opposite sex. Is that really what it is, or is it something that people have been oriented to, depending on the kind of company that you keep? If you went to like a boys' school, many who have gone to boys' schools, there's a lot of pressure, in some of those schools. The studies are not less, they are more. There is biology, there is physics, there is math, there is English, there is Swahili, there is literature, there is art and craft, there is history. The pressure of studies, and you are put in the same institution, and you're only boys, and sometimes you feel like pressure is building up in your body. And because the pressure is building up in your body, you're a boy, and you start feeling like you want to release yourself. Some studies show that this issue of LGBTQI, or the issue of even sexual orientation of other normal human beings, or let me use that word, is that there's an age, or there's a stage called adolescence. Adolescence is a stage where there are a lot of changes which happen in a person's life. A lot of changes happen in a person's body. Body chemistry, changes, and boys who are between the ages of 13 to 19, they experience a lot of changes in their bodies. And during that time, you realize you're hooked up, or you're placed, or you're domiciled in a boys' school, or domiciled in a girls-only school. And therefore, The only other person probably you could get attracted to is a fellow boy or a fellow girl. Could that be the reason why probably we are having this this group called LGBTQ? Could it be that, you know, because of this social upbringing, this social group, you know, that people find themselves in, makes them now have those different kind of feelings towards this people of the same sex, you see. And that's not only the reason which I have heard or seen. The other one is the idea that these days when you watch a movie, you realize that that movie doesn't just end without you seeing some scenes or some episodes within that movie which show, you know, how some two boys went aside probably into a bathroom, and, you know, while others, you know, are trying to court a boy trying to court a girl, you know. The movie takes you to a scene where you see a boy is going to the bathroom and meeting there with another boy, and then having a conversation, and along the way you realize that the boy they're kissing with another boy. I think I didn't see that too long ago. There's a movie I was watching not too long ago, I saw, called Tough Love, and that I saw one of the episodes where while most of the episodes were dealing with boys courting with girls, at the end of the day, but before the movie would come to an end, I saw a section which had that picture of a boy and a boy kissing. Could some of these things be the reasons why we are coming to a point, those who are LGBTQ, those who are supporting probably this kind of arrangement, could it be that that is the reason why the people have gotten to that level, that they are now professing to be LGBTQ? What about what our children are now seeing in the mass media? You go to social media, you go to even our mainstream media. These days, you know, you watch cartoon, and what you see mostly in cartoons also, those cartoons also try to give that picture, you know. Some of you parents out there, you may say, oh, my children, you know, they don't know anything about LGBTQ. But what about the fact that you let them watch cartoon, and some of those cartoons you have not screened them? You have not screened them. When you allow them to see, you know, they have all those episodes. They have episodes of boys courting girls, and there are also episodes where girls are courting girls and boys are courting boys, you know, and it looks as normal. So the question is it that some kind of normalcy is being brought about by virtue of orientation or socialization, so that we can say, oh, it's okay, you know, or it's okay. But the majority, it's not something that is inbuilt. It is something that people have been socialized to, people have been oriented to. Now, if we say so, then we could as well say that I will keep my children off some of these media stations. I will keep my children off from some cartoon series. I will keep some of my children from some of these things, because I do not want them to be socialized. I do not want them to be oriented to this issue of LGBTQ. I don't know what you're saying, and I'm trying to provoke those of you who think otherwise, and tell me, why would you think that this thing is normal, if indeed it is something that we are trying to do in this late hour? We are trying to do now this last generation, let me call it a last generation of this world history. Why couldn't we come out clearly and say that we are trying to guide these children. We are trying to guide these young people into a certain direction by the kind of cartoons that are in the industry and by the kind of movies that are also in the industry. Those are questions that I will be very glad to see if you will be able to comment in the comment section so that we can be able to learn together. And you know, we are going to come live one of these days so that we can be able to interact with you and hear your questions and your understanding about this big animal in the house that we are dealing with called LGBTQ. So, my friend, I think I've left it out to you to think about it before we can meet again in our next episode and be able to learn and understand this thing before we can dismiss it, before we can bury, before we can say it doesn't exist. Can we first of all understand where these people are coming from?